It's a pretty expensive, service that I rent, and they basically have got me hooked on the Dropbox system. So a few years ago, Jeff Bezos made a prediction. They predicted that in a few years that people will move away from owning local PC hardware and instead rent computing power from the cloud services like Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure. And I think that's always been the objective of these technology providers. They don't mind the fact that you own devices and you're storing your stuff on your own devices, but they would love it if you became dependent on their cloud services that were part of their business plan that has recurring revenue. They're able to upsell you. And I don't know, how many times I've had to update and upgrade my Dropbox service as I, start, gathering more documents and videos. And so it's a pretty expensive, service that I rent. And they basically have got me hooked on the Dropbox system. So instead of buying my own hardware, buying a network accessible storage systems, things like that, I'm putting it up in their cloud. I think everybody really kind of has that on their agenda. So Windows 11, which is getting a great deal of pushback now as people are forcing their upgrades and having to buy new computers and things like that, made backup feel mandatory, not optional, when your folders are silently redirected to OneDrive. Local files become a cloud product by default. And you can read the article, and I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen. But evidently what happened when you upgraded to Windows 11, it would take many of your files, photos, things like that, and put it up in OneDrive by default. Now, there was some backlash that where the users pushed back against Microsoft, and they provided some capabilities so you can bring them back onto your device. But it's interesting that they did that and took that kind of liberty with your own property, in this case, files. And, many folks, including myself, files represent a career of work, and you don't want to lose them. Just don't think it should be default. You should go through a very good explanation of why we're moving your files to this other system, and you can make the choice or not. Now, many of these organizations, many of these high-tech organizations are by default pushing your files up into their clouds. So this is consent by user interface, not consent by choice. And the defaults really kind of, shape the outcomes. Most people don't notice, that it's there, that they have a choice to click, I don't want my files up in your cloud. In many cases, they're doing that on purpose. They're trying to make it difficult for you not to choose their cloud service. And in doing so, they provide them with greater income because they're going to have a reoccurring revenue and also an upgrade path. You're going to burn that up pretty quick. And then they're going to sell you more storage at an additional fee you're going to have to pay monthly. And we all have these subscriptions, drive us nuts.